And Rami, the Tom Brady Las Vegas rumor and innuendo was pretty hot and heavy, even going back to his pre-Tampa Bay days. And
remember the Dana White story that he almost put that whole thing together?
Yeah, Dana said that it was done. Dana said it was done until John Gruden walked in. Chucky walked in and ruined it all. And you know who else said that was the case? Recently? Darren Waller. This is from Forbes, Jeff Fedotin. Another juicy rumor circulated that recently retired Brady was headed to the Raiders for his post-Patriots years instead of the Bucs until John Gruden prevented the acquisition at the last minute. Here's what Waller said on Radio Row, quote, "I've heard it from multiple sources that I respect and I've been close to." Sources close to me. Tell me.
He plays for the Raiders.
Yeah. Do you think he has a source or two in the organization?
He might, yeah.
He says they're like, yeah, Brady to the Raiders was a lock. It is weird how he says to the Raiders like he's not
like he's not a member of the team. Yeah.
Instead, the Raiders stuck with Derek Carr, who they ultimately benched, as we know, late last year. So this is one of those, my producer in Virginia used to say, a sliding doors moment, right? What would happen if history was changed in some kind of way? All these other doors slide open. Mm-hmm. All these other things happen. And I started to kind of think of that when I saw that. First of all, we can all agree that that was an all-time boneheaded move by John Gruden.
Yes.
Boneheaded. I had no idea why you would turn down Tom Brady when you have Derek Carr.
Oh, I know why. Ego. Because if Tom Brady came there and they took the team to glory,
it's a fair point.
It'd be Tom Brady getting all the praise and all the shine, and John Gruden would be in the background.
It wouldn't be the what was it, Spider XY banana or whatever he used to talk about.
Right.
It wouldn't be about Gruden's offense and his offensive genius.
He wanted to be the savior.
That's a fair point. It's a great point. But boneheaded move. First, I mean, if this happened, you would have to say that the Raiders would have been the odds-on favorites to make a deep run and maybe even win a Super Bowl title within the last couple of years. You bring Brady in, that changes the entire dynamic. Who knows who comes with Brady, right? Does Gronk go with Brady? You already had a couple of weapons that you could utilize. I would imagine other players would make themselves available to play with Tom. They did that in Tampa. Just one of those moments where if you're the Raiders, man, oh man, but beyond just having a chance at a Super Bowl, because it's rather obvious to say with Brady instead of Carr, that gives you a better chance to win a title. Think about the cost. Because if you brought Brady in, Rami, you're only spending money on him. It straight up free agent deal.
Right.
And it's not like Brady was like, pay me $1 billion. $25 million a year for a couple of years. That's all he wanted. He wanted the Drew Brees contract. So the Raiders would only have to give him $50 million over 2 years for him to be their franchise quarterback. And Chucky said thanks, but no thanks. The acquisition cost very, very small, all things considered, to bring in the greatest of all time, not Rami's, mine. And you also then think about, you would have traded Derek Carr for assets. So not only do you bring Brady in for just money, you are then able to pivot and trade Derek Carr for picks. And now you could supplement your roster around Brady. And on top of that, what are you going to give up now for a quarterback? Now, Brady, does he stay for another year?
The ripple effect just keeps on going, man.
Like if does he stay in Vegas longer than he stayed in Tampa? Maybe. If they're competitive, maybe he plays for another year, right? Maybe Gruden was worried about his job. Maybe Chucky said, if I bring Brady in and we don't win, Brady's going to get his guy McDaniels, or he's going to get his guy Bill O'Brien. They're going to kick me out.
Just forget that it's Brady and he has these connections that you're talking about, Nick. When the new quarterback we just saw the new coach brought in, and who's the scapegoat? Who bites the bullet when things don't go according to plan? It's the incumbent. It's the guy who is already there when you're talking about the dynamic between quarterback and coach. If Gruden brought Brady in and it didn't work, the finger gets pointed at Gruden, and he becomes the scapegoat. Same way Derek Carr is the scapegoat right now, and he's the guy who's on his way out. So that is another reason why John Gruden maybe put the kibosh on this whole thing. But bottom line, man, if you're a Raiders fan, this has got to be gut wrenching. Like and the dagger just keeps getting twisted deeper and deeper with this Tom Brady story, and the more that we find out about it and how close it was to happening, and especially Nick, when you look at, as you just did, the ripple effects of it and how far they reach and how much impact this had on the team. This one non-signing of Tom Brady and what could have been versus what has been these last few years.
And not only does it impact the Raiders, and obviously it would have impacted Tampa. What would have happened with Tampa? Do you trade Derek Carr to Tampa? Could have happened. What's the NFC South look like if Brady's not in Tampa? How does that affect Drew Brees' final, year or whatever it was? Does he have a better chance? And then you look at Kansas City. What's the impact on Kansas City? Because now Tom Brady is in your division. And how much fun would that have been if you had Mahomes and Brady going against each other, right?
Yep.
But how does that change the math for the Chiefs? The Chiefs might not have as good of a seed. They might not be, a top 1 or 2 seed. That might change their math and push them back a little bit. They don't have home field advantage. Maybe because of no home field advantage, they're not as successful as they have been. I mean, there's just the sliding doors, the nonstop, as you called it, trickle-down domino effect. It's truly amazing to think. If that happened, if Brady went to Vegas, it would have impacted the entire league in so many different ways.